The following portion of Daytime is sponsored by Older Lundy, Koch and Martino.
Mary Poppins and Nanny McPhee used a bit of magic to get the job done right, but the reality of being a nanny is that caring for kids can be stressful and physically demanding. In-home caregivers are household employees, so who can be held legally responsible for an injury on the job? Here with the answer is Anthony Martino, partner at Older Lundy, Koch and Martino. Anthony, welcome.
Welcome. Good morning.
Good to have you here. So as we tackle this question, it's important that people understand liability. Can you define what that means?
Yeah, liability is simply legal responsibility for something. But in the context of a household employee, it might be liability to someone else for their actions, or liability to them if, for instance, they get hurt at your home.
So let's talk about that example. Let's say there's a nanny working in your home. He or she gets hurt. Are you liable as a homeowner?
You certainly could be. All right, so as a homeowner, you have a responsibility to maintain your house, your premises, in a reasonably safe condition, and you have to warn of known or concealed perils. So it obviously can get factually complicated as to how those things arise, but if you're having work done at your home and the conditions have changed between your nanny having been there between the days, and you're aware of it, and you don't tell them about it, and it ends up causing them to get hurt, you very well may be held responsible for that.
So because you may be liable, you want to make sure that you have liability coverage. Is it enough to have it just in your basic insurance policy, or do you need a separate liability policy as well?
And by basic, I think most people would just assume their normal homeowner's insurance, and the answer to that is generally not. Some have limited coverage for medical expenses, but you'd still be exposed to pain and suffering, loss of the ability to earn in the future, and so it's generally going to be insufficient. So we recommend you could do a number of things. You could buy a workers' compensation policy. If you do that, you are actually then immune under the law from being sued, and workers' compensation takes care of any and all damages that your employee sustained. There are specialty policies or riders that you could get added on to specifically cover your household employee, and I certainly recommend that you get an umbrella. But when you purchase these products, ask your agents these specific questions to ensure that you do in fact get that coverage.
So what is your best advice, steps that someone should take if they're considering having a household employee like a nanny?
Well, certainly get your insurance in order in advance. And if your insurance agent can't answer the questions for you, bring me the policy, and I will read it and advise whether or not you're adequately protected for the risks that you're undertaking, because you could also be responsible in the event that your nanny's running an errand for you or taking your children to school. Absent them intentionally running someone over, typical negligence, car accidents happen, you can be vicariously liable because they're in the course and scope of their employment by you.
Wow, I never would have thought of that. So if anyone else has any other questions for you or wants help kind of getting everything in order, what's the best way to reach you?
Certainly. Go to olderlundylaw.com, call our main office, and ask for me, and I'll be happy to help.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have a policy to show you later. And if you'd like more information, you can visit olderlundylaw.com or call 813-254-8998. Daytime will be right back.
The preceding portion of Daytime was sponsored by Older Lundy, Koch and Martino.